Craggy Boglands in Willoughby, Ohio is an independently owned Irish-style pub with a great selection of drinks and traditional Irish cuisine, with all of their food being made fresh in-house. The owner, Dan, is a responsible business owner who is following all of the guidelines to keep people safe, but feels that the 10 p.m. curfew is arbitrary and that it is hurting people more than helping. Ohio Barhop traveled up to Willoughby to sit down with Dan and talk about how the 10 p.m. curfew is hurting his business and his staff. All right, we're here at Craggy Boglands with Dan. He's the owner here. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
So you made a post about a week or so ago here that kind of went viral on the internet about a situation that happened here at your business. Can you tell us what happened with that?
Oh yeah. It went got quite a bit of play, I guess you could say. Over 100,000 views on a post that I put up. It was the Thursday night during the Browns game. I basically wrote an open letter to Governor DeWine. It was, the fourth quarter, the Browns were up. Normally it would be a very boisterous, enthusiastic crowd. Bar would have been full. Thursday night maybe not totally full, but still a large crowd. And the lights were all off. There was just one TV on, and that's just because I was sitting here watching the game, just kind of thinking about kind of the gravity of the situation and what kind of is going on for not only my bar, but all of the bars and restaurants in the state of Ohio right now.
So you had a pretty decent crowd here, and you told me like at halftime, it was pretty much empty at that point.
Oh yeah, halftime was basically right around the 10 p.m. cutoff time, last call time. And yeah, there was 25 people here or so. They all cashed out right at halftime. And after that, maybe 5 people got another drink or two to finish, from 10 till whenever they were done. They had a beer and a shot, and, they left shortly after. By 10:20, everyone was gone. 10:30, my bartender was done. And it was just me sitting here kind of thinking about, the state of the bar and restaurant industry in Ohio.
Do you think that if the 10 p.m. curfew was rescinded, that your staff here at the bar could handle maintaining social distancing, making sure people are following the guidelines that are in place after 10 p.m.?
Oh, of course. I mean, we do it throughout the day. There's never really much of an issue with it here. I don't see why there would be any difference in between, at that cutoff time period. If anything, the 10 p.m. last call and 11 p.m. pulling of the drinks creates more of an issue for bar owners for social distancing, is because a lot of places, especially busy areas where there's a lot of bars and the go-to spots of whatever city or area that they're in, everyone wants to go out, but they only have a limited time, so they all go out. They pack the bars, from 9 to 9:30. There'll be a huge influx of people, where a bar that was properly social distancing throughout, their operation throughout the day, all of a sudden there's a large influx of people, and they all want to get a number of drinks, and so they get a round of drinks, and then right at last call, they'll order, several shots and a couple beers. They have an hour to drink it, and then all of a sudden, although they have to, it's basically a power hour is what it's kind of called in the business. It's sometimes used for promotions, whatever. But so everybody's, drinking as much as they can in an hour, and then they're going back to house parties where there is no social distancing. So where in our business, it's our job to make sure that those guidelines are maintained. But if we're restricted from, if we can't do that, then they're going, to large parties. You see them all over the place. And where there's no social distancing, there's no cutoff time. There's, it just doesn't make sense. And I think there are a lot of unintended consequences that this ordinance has had and continues to have that just don't make much sense.
Can you tell me about what you and the staff here are doing at your bar here to keep people safe?
Oh, we have 6 feet between each group of people. Anytime anybody gets up, we wash and then sanitize the areas. We wash and sanitize all high traffic areas such as door handles and the like. Everybody has to wear a mask. The staff has to wear a mask, and we follow all applicable guidelines.
And you've got reduced capacity right now as well because of that?
Oh yeah. Before all this happened, when I say before all this, I mean the 6 foot, all distance guidelines, whatnot. My occupancy here was 70 people. Now with the way that I have the seating set up, at most I can get 32 to 34, depending on the size of the groups. Now also, if they're not the perfect size groups, then at times, it would be 26 people and I wouldn't be able to have anybody else come in just because, if I have one table here and there's only 2 people, but it can seat 4, well, then, I can get about 25, 26 people.
So with this 10 p.m. curfew in place now, what kind of a toll has it taken on your business?
It's been a dramatic impact. When we first opened up in June after the shutdown, sales were down about 26%, which I somewhat expected. There's a lot of people who don't want to go out right now. And so I expected to take about a 25% hit, which is right about where it was. But then once the 10 p.m. mandate hit, I probably saw another 20% drop.
So probably
honestly,
closer to 40,
yeah,
45%?
probably about 40-45%. I crunched the numbers, a couple weeks ago, when September began, so I could kind of get an idea of where I was sitting for this year versus last year, and I'll be lucky to do 50% of 2019's revenue, which is, it's a big hit.
It is a big hit.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had to dig into your own pocket during any of this time to help sustain the business?
Oh yeah. I haven't paid myself in probably 2 months, and then I've probably had to inject about $4,000, maybe $5,000 into the business, which isn't as bad as I thought it might be. It still definitely is not the best way for a business owner to operate, but you got to do what you got to do. I got family to support. I've got 10 staff members who depend on me for a job, and I've got a ton of great customers who love coming here, so just got to do what we got to do to get through it all.
So if you had any message for Governor DeWine directly, or any of our legislators in Columbus about how they can help our industry right now, or give us a hand, to make sure that bars and restaurants don't go out of business in the next upcoming months here, what would you have to say to them?
Like I stated in that post that I put that got so much play, is, I understand it's a balance between, public safety and the economy. I think that, this industry has gotten a lot of blame that it shouldn't have. I also understand that, late at night, people get a little loose with following rules and whatnot. That's why my personal proposal, and I know I have a lot of support from, at least all of the other business owners and bar owners in Willoughby, that a hard cutoff at midnight would be the best solution for everyone involved. You don't
Maybe
have
like
this
a step towards the 2:30.
Exactly. I don't see a political way with the way that that a bill is being held up in the House. I just don't see any political way out of this at the moment. I don't know that there's a will to just completely go back on everything. But I think there's a good middle ground. I think that there would at least be a way to get more data doing something like that, because the mask mandate went into effect, and then a week later the curfew went into effect, and there wasn't enough. They continue to say it's 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, which probably is the case. I believe it to be the case. But without being able to collect that data, I don't know how they determined which was really effective. It's quite possible that the mask was effective and the bar closures at 10 or 11 doesn't really have anything to do with it. But again, the main thing is the arbitrary 10 to 11, where you get a bunch of people drinking a bunch. When it just causes confusion, it causes a bunch of problems. Bars have been able to and required to close at 2:30 in the morning, and there's enforcement mechanisms for that. The same mechanisms can be used for a midnight cutoff, and that's where I think it should be. I think at the very least that's a good middle point to start, and then look at the data from that. If that didn't have any impact, then perhaps push it back. And we'll see where it goes. But this 10 p.m. cutoff is the way it's been done has been done very arbitrary, and I don't think that there would be any difference putting it back till midnight. And then that way you would eliminate the problems with all the people going to house parties. They'd still be able to go out, but instead of going to a house party, getting drunk, going to a bar, then going to a house, and then being at the house till 3 o'clock in the morning, they might go out, 9 to midnight, and then we're like, oh, well, we've had a good time, let's just go home. At least that's how I think that things would go, and that's how most of the people that I've talked to, they all feel the same.
Excuse me. Well, I certainly hope that our industry gets some relief soon too, and I'm going to keep pushing our message out there for the bar and restaurant industry, showing that the vast majority of us are doing what we're supposed to be doing in this industry to try to help people.
Oh yeah, and I know very few who aren't.
So I'm going to keep fighting this fight on our behalf, and I wish you and all your staff here the best, and especially your family. And,
yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And then, hopefully these things change pretty soon. And yeah, I guess that's all we can hope for.
I hope
keep
so
plugging
too.
along. So.
Thanks for sitting down with us today.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.